TripleA-reno Home Show. I have the pleasure to be here today with Emmanuelle Causse. Hi, Emmanuelle.
Good morning.
Hi. So Emmanuelle, she's the Secretary General of the International Union of Property Owners. Emmanuelle joined UIPI in 2009 to lead the Brussels office. So she's based in Brussels. And she acts as a representative towards the European institutions and prepare and defend the positions of organizations on all the European topics relevant to property owners, so private property owners, and the role of real estate sector. Emmanuelle gained a lot of expertise in building related matters, in particularly energy efficiency and sustainability. Well, she has quite some experience in several European projects, but also non-European projects. So during this interview, we will be discussing also the differences between regular projects she's involved within UIPI and the role of UIPI in TripleAreno specifically. Emmanuelle, the current situation that we're living right now, so we are all forced in living in lockdown, has given us a lot of time to reflect, of course, about ourselves, but also the world we're living in. And when we will reemerge, hopefully soon, from this lockdown situation, what do you think it will be different, specifically for the real estate market and the market for deep renovation, in your opinion?
Most probably, people will not, first thing they will do is not think about renovation. That's one thing. I think we have already some hints on how people are looking into renovation. Our Dutch colleagues from the big association in Netherlands of homeowners have done some survey on people willing to do sustainable renovation. And what we see is that before the crisis, they had about 30% of people ready and thinking about home renovation, while now this percentage has been lowered down to 16 to 17%, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So it doesn't mean that these people will not do anything. I mean, we see that most of them, at least a large part of them, are still thinking about it, but they will postpone it for a substantial amount of time. So in the home renovation market, I think things will evolve a bit differently, but it doesn't mean again that people will not do anything. And I think the role of our sector is also to explain to our members what can be done and why they should do things, and help them as well through this transition period. So there are lots of things that will maybe be put on hold for a while, but we have to relaunch the market. And also, of course, the construction sector has been hardly hit by the crisis. Restarting work will be an issue. We see that most construction companies have also put their project on hold, so they have to catch back basically on what they have been able to do in the last few months. But also permits. Building permits, our renovation permits have been not delivered during this period. So this means that things will also take more time to go back to normal after the crisis. And also, the big question is also what these companies, this construction company can do with foreign workers, so third countries type of workers that are now unable to come back to Europe potentially. So that's all open question that we'll see how the market, real estate market, but also construction markets, construction sector will evolve in the coming months. So that's for the very near future, I would say. What we see, of course, it's that the European Commission is putting the Green Deal and renovation wave in as a top priority of a recovery. So we also hope that in that sector, Commission and also followed by member state and maybe local authority will do more in boosting renovation. And by doing more, we mean also incentivize the renovation better. At least what we hope at UIPI.
You gave a very good comment on indeed the implication of the pandemics on the European renovation wave, something that UIPI was already involved and supportive towards, but of course not only UIPI but the European Commission at large is somehow revisiting, you know, the priorities that we all have. We know that this pandemic will drastically impact the renovation market. How do you think projects such as TripleAreno could somehow rethink of the objective, also re-strategize to take these implications into consideration and supporting this new, you know, European renovation wave moving forward?
So that's a very good question. Thank you. So as I said, the renovation wave is now a top priority at EU level, and what we think at UIPI is that people need to be supported in this transition. So they need to be supported through the renovation journey. That's very important for us. It's all about acceptability for us. So we need to make renovation acceptable by the average EU citizen, by the average landlord. What you need to know, it's a large part of the housing sector, but also in the non-residential sector, is in the end of individual landlords, so not necessarily professionals. So all these people need to be supported in doing this transition, and this is what we aim at UIPI, and it's where we think this project like AAA can be useful. It's about developing a tool that helps people to renovate, a tool that ease the decision, and this type of tool are crucial. So we need to multiply example like this. We need to massify this type of tool, I think the interesting thing about AAA is really that you can use this at home. You can just look into what you could do. It doesn't mean you will have to follow all the steps that are proposed by the AAA tool, but at least you can have an idea of what you could do when it comes to renovation. And I think the acceptability also mean that you need to raise this awareness among people. So that's where a AAA can help. And another very important thing I think with AAA is that is also, or at least what we try to do, is really this human-centric approach. So we really try to tailor this tool in a way that it's really tailored for those individual homeowners and for those individual landlords. If we manage to do that, I think it can become a very useful tool.
Yeah, you tackled upon a very important aspect for AAA, which is acceptability. Indeed, the 3A of TripleAreno stands for affordable, attractive, and acceptable home renovations. And one of the reasons why we wanted to involve, and we have UIPI involved in this project, is indeed to represent the needs of a very important segment, which is the demand side in this case, and really try to co-create together with you as a sort of middleman, as organization, to reach out to your members, the members you're representing, indeed, throughout Europe. So you're functioning as a sort of platform yourself for your members to share your vision. Can you tell us a little bit more about, the role of UIPI in, listening the needs of your members, translating? It's a very difficult role, like translating the technical actions we're taking within the project, and and merging this. Can you explain this process and what does this project mean for UIPI, for you?
Well, what I like to say for this project, but also the other EU-funded project we are involved in, and we don't have many, by the way. We are very picky in the type of project we choose, and these projects really have to be meaningful for our members. And what I like to say is when we are in a project, we are here to do the kind of reality check. So, because there are lots of great ideas, lots of things out there, lots of concepts, but in the end, these concepts have to be taken up by the market, by the people. So, what we try to do is indeed translating what we hear from our members, what we know, what homeowners want, what could help landlord, and try to translate this or at least to steer the discussion, or to steer the tool in a way that is tailored for the market. And sometimes we think we know everything at EU level, but sometimes it's really interesting to confront the results of this type of project and AAA with our members directly. It's what we did together in February. And if we were right at UIPI, I would say on 99% of the thing, we realized that a couple of legal aspects or a couple of practical aspects that we didn't really think about, and that we can now take into consideration because we had the opportunity to directly discuss with our members. And I think this is really useful. This was useful for me as well, but I think it's also very useful for the project.
Yeah, I think you mentioned a very important topic, which is confrontation and reality check. And it's always very interesting to for us when we design a proposal and then we run the project, we have such a very high and hyperbolous ideas of what we would like to do, and then someone like you and you representing your organization just let us confront with the reality check with what is actually going on. And it's not just writing a document, but it's really confronting with people and organizations and members. And so we do have to face this reality check. What are, in your opinion, the main barriers that are still hindering the acceptance of these platforms like TripleAreno?
I think things are evolving. Digitalization is becoming more and more important nowadays, but there is still a generation gap. And I think if you talk about the average homeowners, landlords in Europe, they are still pretty, let's say, older generation type of segment of the population. So there, I think it's more difficult to get them into using this type of tool, but it's where maybe intermediaries can help, because one thing we think about as well with this project is having this tool being used by some of our members association in helping their own individual members in doing the renovations. So the intermediaries could maybe help this older generation that are not necessarily used to do digital tool. But what we see as well is that, especially in homeowners association, because UIPI has a different type of members, but we have a certain numbers of homeowners association, we see that some of them have developed similar tools, so digitalized tools for their own members. So there is indeed a real demand, because our association respond to their own members' demand. So I think there we see that there's a certain category, or say middle-aged homeowners, young family accessing property for the first time and willing to do renovation, who could really make use of this tool. But I think in the coming years, digitalization is going to be a growing topic in the construction and renovation sector. We see that already. We have BIM and all this development taking place that are easing the process from the construction industry side, but I think also from the demand side, this type of tools in general can really help this type of let's say burden-free type of experience for the consumer. So in order for them to picture what they could do and how they could do it. So there is a growing market, but let's not forget that a large part indeed of the European homeowners and landlords are older generation. So there is still a generation gap, but there is indeed a large market for this type of tool. And I think this is a kind of service that go beyond just the replacement of building elements. So you propose a service, you help people to picture how their property could look like, what it could change in their lives. So I think it's interesting in that sense.
And it's really interesting in the sense that you were trying to provide a contribution on how home renovation would look like in the future, but also how home renovation can be designed in the future. Like, for instance, you made a comment a couple of weeks ago saying that, well, it's really important in these times of lockdown in which people have time to just sit comfortably on their couch to play around, maybe just to think about it, and maybe that's not something they know that they want to do right now, but even when it comes to take like a step-by-step renovation, then they can maybe plan something small and thinking about bigger actions in the next time.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's all about understanding and knowing. What you need to think as well is that when you have individual people, they will go to local craftsman, they will go to an architect, or they will go to another professional, or another professional will come to them, for example, to replace their boiler, etc. And sometimes homeowners and even individual landlords, they are a bit worried because they do not necessarily know what to do. So they are a bit in a weak position towards those professionals. So what we see in our association is that if you understand better, if you're able to have a maybe not equal discussion, but at least understand what some of the things that the professional will propose you, it can make a decision easier, because you are less on a defensive type of position, let's say, but you are more willing to exchange and maybe have like a kind of peer-to-peer type of discussion. So I think in that sense, this type of tool are useful. So it doesn't mean that if you check on a TripleAreno type of tool and you go online and you see what can be done, that is exactly what you will do, or that's exactly what a professional will help you to do. But at least you have like one type of solution proposed, and then it's all about having this direct discussion and see what can be done together with a professional of his choice. And I think this is important as well.
Yeah, that's very important. Emmanuelle, I would like to thank you for this interview, but before letting you go to your kids again today, I would like to ask you one final question. I would like to conclude with a message of hope. I think we really need this during these times. Like, moving beyond the purely Horizon 2020 funding, what are your hopes for the TripleAreno platform, for instance, for the private sector, for private homeowners? How do you hope the best case scenario that the TripleAreno platform would be for real used by private homeowners?
Well, it's still difficult to say because we're still developing these tools, so we still have to see how this will work concretely. But as I mentioned earlier, we see that there is a demand among some of our associations for this type of tools. So what we hope is really we can bring this type of tool to the market. This also will very much depend on how we can bring together different sectors, because the tool is also about having professional interacting with homeowners. So it's an all type of solution, type of package. So but the idea here is really to bring this tool to the market and helping people to do this type of renovation, and maybe merge this type of tool with existing platform that are already out there, and bring the best of both, basically. So So let's see. For us, it's a real good experience being in this project in the sense that we learn a lot. We learn a lot from our members. We learn a lot from the other partners. And I would say one very last thing I really like with the project is that we brought in this human-centric approach, and I think now in the coming years, seeing what the EU research framework is aiming at, I think this human-centric approach will be a key element, and I think this is where maybe with AAA we were already some kind of pioneers in that sense. So let's hope this platform can then evolve beyond the project phase. So that's the best we can hope, I guess. So,
yeah, I guess so too. And indeed, that's the reason also why we organized this series of interview when we knew that we couldn't run our road show again. Then we decided to do a home show. So also learning from this ethnographic research method, like interviews, that whenever you don't know how to tackle a problem, you can always involve people and reconstructing pieces of overall information by asking people questions and understanding their visions and their needs for the development of a product or a solution like AAA. So these also apply to our communication and dissemination strategy now. And I think also in this we want to be some sort of pioneer. So let's see how this experiment will conclude. So again, thank you, Emmanuelle, for your perspective and the perspective of UIPI.
Thank you, Simona. It was great, and take care. And talk to you soon, hopefully in Brussels.
Yeah, hopefully Brussels.